Namaste. So this is a special practice, and in this practice you're going to concentrate on loosening up the right hip. So that's good for me because the right hip is the one that's tighter for me. And so it will be a little bit, I'm going to do about 20 minutes on the floor, and then I'm going to work through standing positions for 20 minutes. And then if you wanted to, after the whole video is over, just turn it off, lie down, and let your legs relax a little bit. So that will be I'll repeat that at the end. So take, for a starting position, you'll need also, as I said in my email, 2 blocks or could be 2 rolls of toilet paper, something just to lift the arms up a little bit later on. So for the beginning, just come and lie on your back and lift and settle the hips a couple of times. Place your hands behind your head and kind of sway your head a little bit side to side. And then let the base of the skull come and rest on the floor. And let your hands just come to your side for a moment. And just take a couple of breaths and begin to feel the bottoms of your feet on the floor. So a lot of what we're going to concentrate on is building strength around the hip to support it. So first we'll loosen up the hip joint, and then we'll build some strength around it. So we'll start with the non-damaged hip, just for practice. So you're just going to bring the left leg in, and as you bring the leg in, relax the foot, and feel the hip moving in the socket. And since this one is a little bit less compromised, you can feel that a little more easily. And feel as you move the leg in the socket that your lower back begins to open up as the knee comes towards your chest a little more. And that's what you want. You want that opening along from the middle to the side, up and down the back. So you're just massaging that open as you draw the leg in and warm the hip up. Letting your breath begin to soften, so not much exertion here. Taking that another bounce or so here, and then place the left foot down, and now lift the right leg up and be very gentle, but you're just very gently going to feel first putting your hands on top of the knee a little bit and letting the hip sit in the socket. So you're not pushing it to have pain, you're just letting it sit. You almost want to feel it coming a little out to the right. And then placing your hands gently, you're just going to gently begin to stretch behind that right leg. Now the stretching of the right leg is connected to how you breathe and what's going on in your back and your belly. So you want to let the front of the body engage a little bit and let the back open up. So as you engage your abs, you'll feel your waist and your hips open up behind. And you're just looking to massage that, and you can take it in a little bit of a circle. And you're looking always to be looking for stretch and avoiding pain. So as soon as you feel pain, just back out of it and then come gently into it again. And just move this back and forth, beginning to warm up the muscles that are around the hip. So what you're trying to do is protect the area that's compromised, where there's that potential for the bone to just grind, and you want to avoid that. So let the leg be far enough away that you're just moving it a little bit in and out. And then release that leg, place it down. And take your hands to your side and just tuck the tailbone under, press down on the feet and lift the hips up a little bit and feel the knees moving toward each other rather than apart, so that you're using the outside muscles of the leg. You're trying to stretch those and strengthen them, and the inside muscles are beginning to engage a little. And then let your back come down to the floor. And now take your arms straight up to the ceiling, so your shoulders are connected to your hip by your body. So your shoulders are going to be affected by the motion that's going on in the legs. So just take the arms and reach them toward the ceiling, where the ceiling meets the wall behind you. And just pull the shoulders into the back. And then let your ribs drop to the floor, tuck your tail under, and try to lift those hips up a little, just a little bit off the floor, and push down on the feet. So you're using the feet and the legs to protect the hip. And then come back down and bring those hands back down. And now taking your left leg, so practice always with the warm up first on the leg that's more free. Just start to straighten the leg a little bit. And feel as you straighten the leg that you're letting the hip lift toward the back, toward the bottom of your mat, toward your feet. And just bend that leg and straighten it. And bend the leg and straighten it. And start to feel the hip getting a little more motion there in the hip socket, bending and straightening. So this is your model of what it'll feel like eventually when you have your new hip on the other side. Bringing the foot down, and now lifting up again, and just taking your hands behind the leg, and then just beginning to try to straighten the leg, and then bend it. And anytime you feel pain, you're not going to go any further, but you might, if you feel pull, that's okay. Because you're just stretching the tendons around the hip and the hip socket to make more room there so that your bones have a little more space, so they have more muscular support and more space to move. And then bring that back down. And now just gently open your arms to the sides and just gently rock your hips a little bit side to side, whatever your right hip will let you do. Just moving it, seeing, trying to get some heat into that hip socket so that you warm it up. Then you're going to roll over onto your right side and just let your head rest on your arm. And you're going to take the left leg and just straighten it out and let it rest on the floor. And then bend it in and bend the left knee up to the ceiling. And it can stretch it out a little, bend it up. It doesn't need to be very close to you, just gently up there. Then you're going to take the right leg and you're just going to push down on your hip, above your hip and your waist. And try to get your waist to go into the floor and just lift that leg a little bit off the floor and take 2 breaths. 1, 2, and then let it come down. And now pressing into the bottom of your foot, lifting the leg off toward the left leg, lifting it up, feeling the muscles inside the leg working. So you're trying to strengthen the legs on the inside and the outside so that there's less pressure on the hip. And then release it down. Now this time when you pull it up, tuck your ribs down as if you were going to crunch your body even closer to your hip. And then push on the outside edge of that right foot, lift that leg up, let your left hand support you, hold it there, using the muscles in the outside and the inside of the leg to hold it there. 1, 2, 3. And then release it down, bring the left leg on top of the right leg, and using your hands, just press yourself up to sitting. And now in a sitting position, arrange your legs however it's comfortable. You might have the foot under the thigh, you might have it in front of it, but just have the right leg bent and the left leg bent also. Because you're going to take your hand, left hand on your right knee, your right hand to the floor, and then you're going to pull your belly back into the spine so that your lower back and your waist are super open. And you're just going to look over your right shoulder and gently press down on the shin of the left leg and lift up with the chest. Then bring your left hand to the floor. You have to bend your elbows to do this. And you're just going to bend over the right leg and then push down on the right thigh and lift up and stretch that hip a little bit on the front this side. And then exhale, bend the elbows down, and then inhale, stretch up. One more time, exhale, bending over, and then inhale, stretching up, and then coming to the middle, bringing the left leg over, bringing the right leg over, and then very gently folding the right leg. If the right hip doesn't want to go down to the floor, you're just going to take your block, your toilet paper or whatever it is, and elevate that hip a little bit so it's not, so you'll probably get so you can put it down to the floor. Or you could put it just on that side of the block so it's not forced. And then you're just going to take your left hand behind you, your right hand to your left knee, and then you're looking again to pull this right hip back and down so that you're using the muscles around the hip to anchor it into place. And you're not going where there's pain, but you're using a little bit of pull there. And then bring your right hand to the floor, bending the elbows, whatever you need to, looking out over your arms, and then pressing either the knee into the block or the shin into the floor on the right foot. Going to bend your elbows and come down, let the breath out. Inhale, look up straight ahead of you. Exhale, bend and come down. Inhale, look straight ahead of you. One more time, exhale, come down, and then inhale up and look straight ahead. And then very gently release this leg, bring it forward, and let both of the legs come out in front of you. So your legs are stretched out like this. You're rocking side to side. And now you're going to take your right thumb and put it right in that hip joint. And you're going to think about, you want to roll the hip back into the socket. So you're just going to hold both hips there with your hands. And you're just going to fold, and you're opening your lower back. You're opening these muscles behind the hips, pointing the toes to the ceiling so you open the inside of the legs, and just bending a little bit forward. Nothing gigantic. Just till you feel resistance in that right hip. And then come back up. And now you're going to take the left hand by the left knee, the right hand on the outside of the left leg, and then you're going to keep the right hip pinned down. So if you had a sandbag or a bag of rice, you could put that on that right hip. And then you're going to turn your ribs to the left so that you're pulling across the back of your body diagonally and pressing. Then you could take your left hand to your left hip, press it into the floor, and so you're doing essentially kind of a triangle or revolved triangle sitting on the floor. Breathing in and out, really letting the breath go around that right hip and keep it anchored to the floor. Being patient with it, one more breath, giving the body time, and then inhale up, and now we're going to go the other way. So just let your right hand be gentle, take your left hand, and now as you fold back, you want to put the right hand, the thumb, right in the hip crease so that you're trying to keep the leg straight up, and then you're holding the hip back. So you're essentially opening up the space in your hip with the weight of your body in your hand. When you get to the limit of that bend, no matter how high it is, you're going to just twist and look over the right shoulder and keep gently, you could even take the heel of your hand and just massage that right hip socket so that you get more blood moving in there. And then on an inhale, come back up. And now, however you need to, you're going to fold your legs under. You can take the block forward and come onto your hands and knees. So however, you have to get there. And then once you're on your hands and knees, you're just going to tuck your tail under, round the back, regular old cat back, like yoga. And then dog tilt, or sometimes they call it a cow, lifting the tail up, opening the back, and trying not to let your right leg get light. So keep the right shin pressing into the floor. Inhale and round it. Exhale, stay there. Inhale and arch it. Exhale and stay there. One more. Inhale and round it. Exhale and stay there. And now come to a flat back. And now starting with the right leg, you're just going to take the right leg back, and you're looking to feel like you're pushing toward the center. So you're just going to lift the right leg up and feel how you use the ab muscles in the leg to keep that hip protected. And then you're going to challenge a little bit by bending the right knee and bringing it up toward the front slowly, and then stretching it out to the back, looking forward as it stretches out. And then inhale, bend the knee, round the back a little bit, use the abs to lift that leg up. And then exhale, stretch back. And one more, inhale, bringing the knee toward the chest or the hip toward the ribs, however you want to think of it. Hold it there an extra breath, and then place it down. And then wiggle back and forth a little bit, whatever you need to do. So now you're going to place the weight on the compromised leg. So first, engage your abs. So if your back is caving, there's no protection of that hip. So engage your abs, and then take the other leg back behind you. And if this feels too much on the right leg, curl the toes under, and that'll make it a little less pressure. And then you're just stretching the left leg back, and then you're bending it in and rounding it and pushing the right knee into the floor so you build strength in the right leg. And then exhale, stretching it back. And then inhale, rounding and pulling that leg in. Keep pushing on the right knee so you keep the right leg working. Stretching back. And last time, inhaling it in, holding it there, and then placing it down. Flatten your feet
separate your knees a little bit wide so your toes are closer than your knees, and then move back just as far as your hip will let you. So you're probably going to be hovering, you're not going to be sitting on your heels. But just move back there and feel your lower back open up. And then rock the weight into the right hip a little bit. So exaggerate how much weight you're using, and then adjust it. Move out of it if it hurts, and then rock it in and stretch it. Move over to the left if it hurts, and then rock it in and stretch it. And then coming back onto your hands and knees, curl your toes under, and now working on the arms a little bit, come down onto your elbows, and check that with your fingers that your elbows are as wide as your shoulders, that's geometry is there. And then you're just going to round your back, let the top of your head come between your elbows, look at your legs, and then straighten your back and look forward towards your wrists. And then round, press down on the shins and look back, and then inhale, come forward. So you're just doing a cat-cow, you're just getting the spine nice and loose. And then round in, and then look back up. And now come back up onto your hands and knees. Curl your toes under, walk your hands forward, and push back to a down dog. In the down dog, you're going to just separate your feet a little bit extra and pedal the knees so that you begin to feel just very gentle on the right, a little more push in the left probably. And then let both heels try to come toward the floor, and now feel like you're squeezing a block between your legs. So your knees are not going out to with the weight going out to your little toe. It's coming to the inside leg and your big toe. And that's going to allow the leg muscles to support the leg so there's less pressure on the hip. And then hopefully your body is going to integrate this, and it'll be that way when you walk. Then bring your knees back down to the floor. Walk your knees back a little bit so your hands are pretty far forward. Flatten your feet and come down onto your belly. And now warming up the upper back a little bit, take your elbows under your shoulders and open your feet as wide as your mat so your lower back is very soft, and wiggle that side to side. So you want to go up without putting any pressure on the hip. You're just going to lift your chest and look forward, and then maybe open your hands a little bit wide and lift the elbows a little bit and feel that in the upper back. If it hurts the hip, go down lower. So you just want to be this stretch in the back. That hip should be, you'll feel it, but you want to just be stretching away from it. And then bring your hands down, bring them under your shoulders, keep the feet this wide apart, and just lift up in a little cobra, come onto the knees, bring the feet a little bit closer together, the knees a little closer together, and press into downward facing dog. And now you're just going to hold in the down dog, and I'm going to stay here in the down dog while I switch to my next 20 minutes of tape. Pressing down, bend the knees. If your hip hurts, bend the knees and do the down dog with the knees bent. And just breathing. So here we are in the down dog, and what you're going to do is you're going to take your left leg and turn it out just a little bit, and then bring your right foot about 4 feet, about a foot forward of your left foot. Wherever your hip, you may be only 6 inches. You're going to have to work it farther forward as we go on. And just press the hips back with the right foot turned out, the left foot reaching behind you, and just rock back and forth into that right hip. Then bring the right foot back into place, and bring the left foot forward just a little bit. You're not trying to get all the way forward. And you'll be able to stretch a little more here probably. And you're opening up the upper body. Then bring that foot back. And now walk both feet forward toward the front of the mat. And bend the knees. Let your hands just bend the knees till your fingertips can reach the floor. And open up the lower back. And push down on the right heel particularly so you feel that right hip. Feel the connection from the heel to the hip, stretching everything open, and then inhale all the way up to the top. And take a big breath in, and exhale, hands to your sides.
And now we're going to do some standing poses. So take the blocks and place them on the high side or the medium side. It's probably the high side because of the leg that's compromised. So we're going to do some little back and forth sun salutation style movement here. So open the arms wide so the shoulders are open. And let the weight go into your heels and press down on your feet. And now inhale the arms up. Look up at the sky. Exhale, take a little back bend with the upper back, just like we did lying on the floor. And then inhale up and exhale, bring the hands down to the blocks, bend the knees as much as you need to. And then let go, let your fingertips just touch the blocks and straighten the back and straighten the legs. And then bend the knees, feel like the knees are coming toward one another. Now keeping your hand on your blocks, take the right foot back, and you want to get lots of weight in the right heel and then press down on the left foot and come up. Now here, you're going to have to deal with the right hip. So you may have to come back a little with your left foot, back and forth, till you massage that hip open. Then when you get to whatever your tolerance level is, turn the right foot in a little more if you have to. Take your hands to your hips, lift the belly, lengthen the tail, and try to stretch the front of this right leg. And then inhale the arms up, press down on the left leg. Take the arms down behind you, and you're going to take the left thumb on top of the right thumb. And then you're just going to lift the belly, tuck the tail, and just reach a tiny bit down your back leg. Inhale up, and then exhale, coming down, looking down at your big toe, letting your arms come up, and then shift the weight toward that right leg. So you're strengthening that right hip. And then inhale back up, bringing the arms up by your ears. And then exhale the hands behind you, put the left thumb on top. Inhale the arms reaching back behind you, pushing into that right leg, letting your head come down toward the front foot. Then push on both legs as you come up, because you're trying to build strength in that right leg, and then inhale it up. And now bring your hands down to the block and reach the right foot back a little farther behind. You may have to bend the knee. And then slowly bring the right knee down to the floor and lift your chest up until you feel the right front of that right leg stretching. And then let the hip come forward. It may not go forward right away. You may have to take a few times of doing this before you can come forward. But you're trying to stretch out the right hip gently and then move it back again. Stretch it out and then move it back again. And then lift up the right knee, push down with the right foot, feel your belly turning toward the center, and then lift the right leg forward, keeping the knees bent, releasing the back of your head. Inhale up to the sky. Exhale, take a little bit of back bend. Inhale up. Exhale, going down, moving into the other side, bending the knees. Inhale up to the flat back, hands might come off your blocks. Exhale, fold over, and now take the left leg back. Put the left foot on the floor. Now with the right leg, what you want to do is get weight in the heel, put your hand on the outside of the right knee, and press the right knee toward the left, and pull the right hip back into the socket as you lift up. And you may have to unbend that leg a little bit depending on what's going on in the hip. And then you're going to bring your arms up and push down on both legs. Take your hands behind you, interlace the right thumb on top this time. And then inhale, look up at the sky. And then exhale, come forward. You may not be able to go very far forward at first. So you're just going a little bit, trying to lift the arms up so you open the shoulders, pushing the right knee toward the left so that you're resisting. You're building strength on the outside of that right leg. And then release it and inhale the arms up again. If the leg is really hurting, come in and out. And then come back down, exhaling the hands behind you. Right thumb on top. Inhale up to the sky. Exhale, folding forward. Unfolding the right leg and then bending a little more. Unbending a little bit, bending a little more, lifting the arms up to the sky, pushing down with particularly the big toe side of your right foot. So you build the strength to protect that hip. And then bringing your hands down to the block come up on the left toe, and drop down. See what's going on in the right hip. Adjust your blocks back a little bit if you need to for that hip. And now we're just going to rock forward and then pull back. When you pull back, try not to let the right knee fall out. So put the right hand on the right knee, pull that hip back, rock it forward. Pull that hip back, rock it forward. Pull that hip back, and now you're going to lift the left knee up, press down on the right leg, lift your chest and look a little forward, and now see if you can take the weight on the right leg and bring the left leg forward. If you can't, then bring the left knee down, move the blocks forward a little bit, and see if you can bring that left leg forward. Releasing the head, inhaling up to the sky, exhaling hands to the heart, take a breath, and release. So now we're going to try for a triangle. So step the right foot back, not too far, and you're going to try to keep both legs straight. So place the right hand on the right hip and feel like the right hip is going toward the left, not opening out to the side. And then you're just going to take the left hand down and place it on your block and move your block back so it's under the shoulder. Then putting your hand on the right hip, you want to feel the right hip not popping open to the right, but pressing into the right foot. Keeping the hand on that hip, you're going to swivel the ribs to the right. So you open up at the waist. So the hip is trying to go down and the ribs are trying to open up. And then you can take your right arm up to the sky. Maybe look up at the right hand. And now press into both feet. Lift up in the belly and press down the right heel. Lift up through the inside of the leg and press down on the outside of the leg. One more breath. And then release it to the front and inhale up, keeping the legs like they are. Take your arms up to the sky and just stretch back a little bit. And then bend the front leg. Put your hands on the block. Come up on the back toe and come in and step the back leg in and step the left leg back. So now you've reversed your legs, let go of the blocks, straighten the right leg. Here you want to feel the hips setting in. So you may have to bend the knee a little to protect that hip, but see if you can get it towards straight. And now the left hand on the left hip, you're trying to lift your belly so your back doesn't arch at all. And then you're just going to look down and find your block, and you have to bend the right leg, bring the block in under the shoulder, trying to straighten the right leg, keeping the back, rub the lower back, rub a little around the back of the right hip. And then keeping your hand in the middle of your back, turn your ribs to the side, and let your left arm come up to the sky. And now try to keep pushing on the big toe side of the right foot. Try not to roll over to the little toe side, and then pull that right hip back. So you're stretching the muscles and the tendons around the hip joint. Maybe turn your head and look up at the ceiling, soften your breath, engage the abdominal muscles. So you're protecting your hips by having strong abs. One more breath, and then release that hand down, bend your front knee, come up on the back toe, and put the back foot on the floor. Inhale up, trying to keep the right leg straight, bring the arms up to the sky, and then bring them down using the blocks to help you take that weight. Bring the left leg forward, and then inhale up to the sky, and exhale, hands to the heart. And now I'm going to bring the block between the legs. So you're going to take the block, I'll do it facing you. You're going to put it between your thighs, or you could put it between your knees. I think it's a little bit easier between the thighs. If you're using a toilet paper roll or something, it might be easier between the knees. Feet are parallel. So what you want to feel, come up, standing up straight, what you want to feel is that the whole body is wrapping toward the center. So you're going to come down and you're going to feel as if you're shooting that block or whatever's between your legs back, not forward. And then just bend the legs gently, take the weight to the heels, bring the arms up by your ears, Utkatasana. Squeezing that block. Push a little more with the right leg than the left, and then release it. Push a little more with the right leg than the left, and then release it. Push a little more with the right leg than the left, and then release it. And then slowly come up and see if you can straighten the legs and hold the block there. Release the breath. Inhale back into the Utkatasana. So you're going to have to work that right hip, so you're pressing into it. Bring your hands to your heart, and now you're going to bring your right elbow, just try to tap the middle of the block. And now pull your right hip back and push down on both feet, push into the right heel, and try to relax the muscles in the hip joint, but use all the muscles around the leg there. Take one more breath, and then inhale to the center, and exhale over to the other side. And now keep remembering to press on the block with the right leg. The right leg's going to want to just kind of get out of this activity, but you're trying to strengthen it up. One more breath, and then inhale back to the center, take the block out, roll your shoulders, and come up. So now we're going to try to work our way all the way back down to the bottom again. So, take a big breath up, and then exhale behind you. Bring your hands to the back of your legs. Put them right at the lower back and open the chest. And now feel the front of the right leg opening up, the front of the left leg opening up as the ribs open, as the back opens, looking up at the sky, and then inhaling up, bending your knees, coming down to the block, and taking the right foot back first, right knee to the floor, and left knee to the floor, and press the hips back to the heels, and you can just place your blocks out to the side for the moment. And now we're going to you can actually put them out of the way, because now you're going to roll over to the left, will be easiest probably for you. And you're going to bring your feet in front of you on the mat, and we're going to kind of wind down again using the block. So you're going to take the block, put it between your legs, and then you're going to come down onto your elbows, and you're trying to let your back soften but not slouch. So you're engaged in the side body, but you're not arching away, because you're going to lift this block up, and you're going to press the block together, and you're kind of balanced on your hip there. And then bring it back down. Relax everything. Squeeze into the block, particularly with the right leg. Lift the legs up. Navasana, variation on the boat pose. And then coming back down. And now you can keep doing this, or you can see if your body will let you do it without resting on your hips. So bring your hands to your knees. Come up, try to straighten your back, place your hands behind the legs, squeeze the block, and now try to tip back and lift the feet up parallel to the floor. They might not do it right away, but in that direction. And then bring it back down. Take your hands behind you, wiggle your hips a little. Okay, this is difficult, but try it one more time. Take the hands behind the legs, lift the back straight, squeeze the block, particularly with the right leg, lean back a little, lift the feet up, find your balance, and then as this gets easier, you're going to flex your feet and bring your arms up to the sky maybe, maybe not. And then bring them down, release your feet, take the block away, stretch your legs out, and let that relax. So you're trying to build some abdominal strength here. So coming down now, back, let's do the twist. So I'll face you. So you're going to take the left leg out, and you're going to take the right leg, and you're going to cross it over the left leg as far out as you need to, so that this hip doesn't hurt. Gradually, you're going to be moving this foot farther in. So you're just going to take the twist very gently. You're holding on with the left hand to the right knee. Take the right hand behind you, and then maybe take the right thumb into the hip crease and try to roll the leg out. So remember, we squeezed the block in. Now we're rolling the leg out. We're taking the hip in the other direction. And then as that begins to open up, just keep the hand encouraging it to open. Now come back to the center and see if you can hook your elbow around your knee. If you can't, just keep holding with your hand, but work yourself toward hooking with the elbow. That'll require more bend in here. And then take again your right hand, roll that hip open, flex the left foot so the left foot is working, and then take the right hand behind you, just gently on the floor, and feel like you're just opening up your lower back there and looking over the right shoulder. And you could do this, you could work yourself up from a 30-second hold to a 1-minute hold on this. And then when you come out of it, you come out of it really slowly. And then come back in and be very gentle because you've just done a big twist on this bum hip. Stretch that out, rock it a little side to side, and then just keep the other leg intact. Bring the left leg over, right hand to the knee, left hand to the hip, and now take the weight into the left hip, and if you flex and point the right foot, you'll feel the change in the hip. Flexing it will challenge the right hip a little more. And then just twist a little bit toward the left. So I'm not mirroring you, so you're going to be you're going to be opposite side from me. And then bring the left hand behind you, relax the right shoulder, take a couple breaths. Then inhale back again. And now your ability to hook your right arm is going to be connected to your right hip. So you may have to move your left knee out a little bit and stick with the hand, or you may be able to hook the arm there. And then you're going to take the left hand behind you. You're going to lift up tall, and you're going to look over your shoulder. Oh, David gets the phone. Letting your right, now feel that right hip. You might have to bend the right leg and then straighten it a little. Just work it around, and you're looking to get more gooiness into that leg. Just looking over your shoulder, breathing in and out. And again, this you can work yourself from 30 seconds to a minute, and it will be very good for you. But when you come out of it, be very gentle. One more breath, and come back to the center, and stretch that leg and jiggle it out. And now for resting, you're going to come onto your back, and when the tape ends, I will just leave you lying on your back, and you get up as you feel comfortable. So you're going to lie back the way we did at the beginning, and you're going to do a check. So you're going to bring the left leg in, pull the thigh to the chest, place it back down. Bring the right leg in. May not go very far. Just see where you can get it to go. Maybe you've got a little more play in that hip than you had before. Place it down. Then take your feet as wide as the mat and let your knees drop together. And if you want, you can put a block between the knees and squeeze on that a little bit, or you can just let the knees bump together. Then wiggle your shoulders and take your arms almost out to the side. They don't need to be straight out to the side, but way away from your body. And then close your eyes and let your body just rest. And breathe into that resistant hip. See if you can let your back soften. Let your thighs soften. Let your feet soften. And then you're just going to stay in this position until you feel your body is recovered, and then come up very slowly, working your way up to sitting and working your way up to standing. If getting from the floor is difficult, you're going to use a chair or something to work your way up, but keep lots of weight in that right leg so you start to build some more muscles there. One more breath, and then I'll just leave you resting here.